My name's Evan from the Lonely Stoner podcast, and today I'm going to be giving you my UFC 313 predictions and talking about some other matchups that have been made recently, different divisions, and also the absolute, how absolutely dirty Jose Aldo has been done by the UFC as of recent. MMA Guru's already talked about it, that's the man right there, but I'm going to give you my thoughts on it a bit because it's quite shameful, to be honest, and a legend of the sport like him can just be given matchups that are wouldn't sell, aren't really beneficial to him. It's just purely trying to feed them to younger guys. And I do that type of shit on WMMA as well, but it's when someone's truly robbed out. But Aldo is still got top 5 level in him in bantamweight, which says a lot. He's really good. But anyway, moving on to the actual predictions, UFC 313. I'm going to be starting from the Alex Morono and Carlos Leal fight. This is a pretty obvious one. You go Carlos Leal, younger, it's more muscle twitch fiber, just got all the advantages in this fight. Alex Morono is a UFC veteran, and he does win fights every now and again, but he's just such a average, regenerated career mode fighter. He's like one of those guys you fight early on in the career mode, like, you see them and they're like fucking, 16 and 12 and you fight them. He just seems like one of those guys, like anyone with a decent amount of skill or some physical advantages in the welterweight division is going to get it done. So I'm going to go with Carlos Leal because it really seems like the obvious pick. And the next one, Bruno Ferreira versus Arman Petrosyan. Obviously, Arman Petrosyan in his last fight brutally knocked out by Sharabullet Magomedov. Brutal knockout. He has skill because that fight wasn't dominant for Magomedov. He was landing nice shots, but it was somewhat competitive at moments. So, Bruno Ferreira I've seen him fight quite a few times at middleweight. He's like a shorter, stockier, inside fighter, big meaty hooks, inside fighting, clinching. I've seen him try to grapple. When he does try to grapple, he usually gets out grappled. It's usually him initiating the grappling, which is a really weird one. But I don't think this one's really going to get into the grappling a bit too much because Arman Petrosyan is more of a striker. So odds have this as Arman Petrosyan as a slight favourite, which, I'm going to disagree with right now. I'm probably going to go with Bruno Ferreira because I favour him to get inside and land big shots inside and potentially get a finish here. And that sort of knockout that Petrosyan had in his last fight, it wasn't a nice one. He went down bad. So me personally, I'm probably going to go with Bruno Ferreira in this one. I rate him somewhat. He loses to half decent guys, but again, he isn't going to be getting submitted in this one. So yeah, I'm going to go with Bruno Ferreira. Next one, Joshua Van versus Ray Surya. Now, it's quite interesting to me that a guy like Joshua Van could be in this flyweight division, be the height he is and still be quite small for it. I think he's like 5'4" or something. So he's not got the best advantages in that. He's 5'5", and Ray Surya is only listed at 5'6", to be honest. So this is only a 1 inch difference in height. The reach, Ray Surya has a slight reach advantage, but the odds have this as Joshua Van is a slight favourite. He did have a really good performance in his last fight. I can't remember who it was against, but it was on... I can't remember what card either, but it was really good. He completely overwhelmed him, landed a lot of strikes in the boxing, pressure, really good performance. Ray Surya, I'm going to be so real, I've not seen anything of him. He's 10-0, which tells me that he's probably alright. But the fact that a 12-2 Joshua Van is a favourite against a guy who's 10-0 probably tells me that he's not all that. So I'm going to go with Joshua Van in this one. RIP me for not doing research if that one don't go through, I guess. And as you know, your boy's always putting on bets. Always putting on accumulator bets. Different bets. I'm putting on like 4 or 5 different bets on Fight Night because, man, fuck it. Financial freedom got to come somehow. So yeah, the next one is Curtis Blades versus Rizvan Kuniev. I watched a bit of Rizvan Kuniev's fights with Renan Ferreira, the Brazilian guy, the big Brazilian guy that fought Ngannou. This Kuniev guy fought him, and he looked all right, but I think he tested positive for. I saw someone say he tested positive for the super soldier serum. So I mean, goddamn, if this guy is needing the super soldier serum, you know, it was like tronbolone, dihydrobolone, all these different ballones. That's how you know they're serious steroids, when they end in balone and alone and that sort of shit. That's how you know that they're seriously juicing. It's not no like, he got caught for a estrogen blocker or something. That's not even a blatant steroid, but it, you know, people who take them take steroids, so that's what really you're getting popped for. It's not even that sort of thing with Kuniev. He tested positive for 4 or 5 blatant different steroids. So, assuming that the drug testing is going to be off standard, I mean, the gyno I see guys having and magically performing better and stuff like this, I mean, I'm kind of doubting the UFC's drug policy post-USADA, because I just see a lot of clues that would tell me certain people are on steroids. But I mean, if he is, then he might do in Curtis Blades, to be fair. But if you're not finishing guys like that at heavyweight, you're probably going to lose to Curtis Blades. So unless he's just going to catch Curtis Blades like he's been before, like got caught by Derek Lewis and Tom Aspinall, if he's going to do something like that, then okay, that can happen at heavyweight. But I don't see this Kuniev guy doing that. And I'm going to assume that he's not on all of the steroids this time. So I'm going to go with Curtis Blades, probably by a decision, 3-round decision. Yeah, to be honest, I mean, there's no odds available for that one. I'm not entirely sure why. Let's see if I can pull it up. It says non-applicable. Fair enough. And the same with this next fight. Yeah, little bro, I ain't calling you King Green. I'm not calling you King Green, bro. You're Bobby Green. I'm not calling you King. That's cringe, bro. That's getting on Henry Cejudo levels of cringe. I'm not going to be calling you King Green, little bro. So you can relax with all that. Anyway, I'm going Mauricio Ruffy in this one. Simply because he's a young up and comer. He didn't look great in his last fight against James Lontop, though. That was like he looked good in moments. He definitely won the fight, but he struggled in moments as well. And Bobby Green is a big step up. He's a big step up, but his last few fights have been absolutely brutal. I mean, I think his last fight was a Jalen Green fight, and that was an absolutely brutal stoppage. Absolutely brutal. I mean, went out at least twice while he was getting ground and pound. Got dropped badly, ground and pound, he's out cold. Then he wakes back up again, the ref's still not stopped it, and bang, 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 ground and pound shots, clean shots to the side of the head, ground and pound, bang, 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 by Jalen Green as well. It's not some Benil Dariush giving you a couple little hammer fists on the ground. It's Jalen Green, fully reared, bang, bang, bang to the side of the head. And that sort of damage, and then you come in against a striker who's known for finishing guys and dropping guys. It's just a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. So with that being said, I'm going to go with a Mauricio Ruffy knockout TKO victory, probably in the first round. If not in the first round, I think he'll hurt him in the first round, nearly have him finished, and in the second round, get the job done. Next fight, I don't care about women's fights. Next. If you got something to say about it, say it, and I'll tell you to shut up. Don't get onto me for what I do and don't like. I'm not watching that, and that's the end of that discussion. There you go. So, speaking of Jalen Turner, he's on this against Ignacio Bahamondes. The last fight I saw from Ignacio Bahamondes was at the Sphere against Ribovic, I think, which was a really good fight, of course. I don't know if he's fought since then, but that was the last time I saw him fight. And against Jalen Turner, who's weight bully, very tall for the division. Power in his hands, but he does finish fights, but he also struggles with sometimes. I mean, like against Renato Moicano, when he was just walking away from him, trying to get the walk-off knockout when he wasn't hurt that badly. I mean, it's really the type of behaviour that lets your opponent back in, and a guy like Ignacio Bahamondes, I could see him getting hurt, but I don't think you can let a guy like that back into the fight. So I potentially do see that happening, maybe early in the first round, but I'm gonna go with Ignacio Bahamondes. They got odds for this one. Yeah, he's a slight favourite in this one, which is actually quite surprising. I thought Jalen Turner would be the favourite, but I'm gonna go with Ignacio Bahamondes because I like him, and I guess I kind of want him to win because Jalen Turner is just a bit, I don't know, like disappointing. I guess you'd think a guy that tall with them advantages at lightweight would do much better than he's done, but I think he's ranked like 13 or something, so yeah, fuck him. Next one, Justin Gaethje versus my guy, Rafael Fiziev. You lot don't know about Fiziev because he ain't fought in a while, innit? Fiziev is nasty, man. Fiziev is nasty. He had a couple unlucky fights, I'm not even going to lie to you. That first Gaethje fight was really close. I personally had him winning it. But I think he's going to come back better this time. He's had a lot of time off. I think he's the type of guy that goes away and trains his absolute arse off. I mean, I've seen him training. I think it's Tiger Muay Thai he trains that. So I've seen him training. He looks, really good as always. He looks in shape, ready for a fight. He's been looking for a fight. So Justin Gaethje here, probably at his most susceptible, coming off. Again, there's a couple guys coming off absolutely brutal knockouts in their last fights, and that are coming in and fighting, somewhat power punchers or finishers. A guy like Fiziev isn't necessarily the biggest finisher, but he did finish Renato Moicano with a boxing, and we know his kicks are top level in the lightweight division, matching Edson Barboza. So yeah, Justin Gaethje is obviously great, but he loses, and he's 36 now, and he's coming off one of the most brutal knockouts in UFC history against Max Holloway, where not only did he take 5 rounds worth of bad damage from Max Holloway, and he lost that fight on the scorecards, and then to get also brutally knocked out right at the end, I personally don't think he's going to be the same. I think this might be like a Tony Ferguson situation where, he just clearly looks, he's fighting the same, but he doesn't have the facilities to win fights the way he used to. I think it's going to be one of them ones where he fights the same, but he just, his style is going to stay the same. I mean, Tony Ferguson's style kind of stayed the same, not really though. His ground game, got a lot worse. But aside from Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, I think he's going to sort of strike the same, them tight inside leg kicks. I think he's going to keep going for that. But I think Fiziev is going to be good on checking those. And in the kicking range as well, I think Fiziev is going to be going for head kicks. And I think he's probably going to land one of those head kicks and finish the fight with a TKO. I'm going to go second round TKO Rafael Fiziev. I like him. I think he's going to finish this fight, jump up the rankings a lot. And yeah, I mean, who's next? If he beats Gaethje, maybe a Charles Oliveira or something like that. I mean, you never know. That's a really hard fight, and I'll probably pick Charles in that fight. But that's an opportunity. You beat Charles, you're definitely getting a title shot. You're someone who hasn't fought Makhachev. You're a fairly new face. I mean, not new, but fairly new in terms of those regular lightweights we see fighting year in, year out. But yeah, I'm going with that Azerbaijani Rafael. I usually don't like them, man, but whatever. Yeah, do your thing. I rate you in the cage, so that's as simple as that. Go get this knockout for Fiziev. Let's get the ball rolling in lightweight, man. Let's get Poirier out there. Let's get Gaethje out there. Let's get the ball rolling on this new gen lightweight. Let's get the Topuria Makhachev fight made. That might even end up being a legendary trilogy. I mean, you never know, but let's get that going. We got Saruki in there. Let's fully get this ball rolling in lightweight now. Renato Moicano, Paddy Pimblett, Mauricio Ruffy. Let's get going now. You know what I mean? Michael Chandler, fuck off. Dustin, I'm sick of all these old heads just beating guys and ruining hype and shit. Like, nah, man. Alright. Anyway, we're not done. Main event time. Now, I know that this fight is probably turning more heads than any of Pereira's light heavyweight matchups have. Because people have this preconceived notion that Magomed Ankalaev is a grappling genius, and he's just going to easily submit him, he's going to easily take him to the ground and TKO him. Well, first of all, Magomed Ankalaev has 0 submission wins in his entire career. I would think a guy that even has good submission ability in the 20 odd fights he's had would he got 11 wins by knockout as well, 6 first round finishes by knockout. So that actually tells you the type of fighter he is. He's a striker first. In all the fights I've watched of his, he's not found when he's not found success in his striking. He doesn't really go for the grappling that much. He stays in the striking because that's what he is. He's a striker. And people see the name Magomed Ankalaev, and of course they automatically assume that, you know, he's another Khabib. He's a 205 version of Khabib. It couldn't be farther from the truth. He's a striker first. He's a striker first, and I think he's going to strike in this fight. I think he might resort to the grappling. How a guy like Yuri would never resort to the grappling. Not even he'd rather get knocked out than resort to the grappling. A guy like Magomed Ankalaev would rather resort to the grappling than get knocked out. So I think I can see him like panic shooting. I can see him getting caught when the striking's not going well, leg kick, panic shooting. I can see maybe some nasty clinch strikes from Alex Pereira in this fight. You know, I don't want to keep this one too brief because this is a really good matchup, and other than the Yan fight, probably the most intriguing fight that Pereira's had, because against Yuri and against Jamal Hill and against Khalil, for me, in my head, Pereira's a huge favourite because these guys don't have the grappling ability. Even though I always think guys who have been training MMA for years and years, who have had year-long careers in MMA, would at least have the grappling capability to try and shoot on a guy like Pereira. But no, like Yuri, Jamal Hill, Khalil didn't even attempt to grapple once in any of those 4 fights. The 2 fights of Yuri, Khalil and Jamal Hill. But a guy like Magomed, I think he will test it. And because Pereira, you would assume, has been knowing that this matchup has been coming, so he would have been defending, he would have been upgrading his grappling skills, even through his previous fights with those guys I mentioned. That being said, I am going with Alex Pereira, probably by a first or second round knockout, because I don't think Magomed is going to fight in a style that Khalil did to get the success he did, even though Pereira was very unwell for that fight, I heard. And I did see the videos. He was struggling to make weight and stuff like that, but it was still a fantastic win from Pereira, which tells me, again, you know, even when this guy is not feeling good or feels like he can't fight, he's just going to go out there and rock someone's snot box. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that. Like, he's just going to thump someone's head in. So, yeah, I think Magomed will go for that grappling in those panic situations when he's already been hurt. But at that point, number one, I think it'll be too late. And number two, even if he does panic shoot, I think we'll see some nasty clinch strikes from Pereira. And yeah, I think he's going to get finished in the first couple of rounds, to be honest. I don't see his striking giving Alex that much problems, to be fair. And the grappling, although people think it's a big factor, it's nowhere near as big a factor as people do actually realise. It will be there because, like I said, those other guys, they're never shooting in a million years, but Ankalaev might actually end up shooting in this fight, but it might be to his detriment. So, yeah, that being said, I'm going with Alex Pereira, first or second round knockout. You're not going to catch me betting against this guy, to be honest, unless he fights Tom Aspinall or John Jones. They're the only fights where I will bet against him. But any other fight, nah, no shot. No one from middleweight's beating him. No one from light heavyweight's beating him, and no one from heavyweight, apart from those 2 guys, the champions, are beating him. So, yeah, Alex Pereira, first or second round knockout, easy as you like. Now, like I spoke about early in the intro, Jose Aldo matched up against Ayman Zahabi. Now, this is just like bullshit. Like, what are you doing? I mean, would you rather not see Jose Aldo fight big and like? I mean, let me pull up these UFC bantamweight rankings, because there's got to be like more exciting big names that he could be fighting other than Ayman Zahabi. Is not even a youngster. I mean, what? I mean, right? Cool. Let me find Jose Aldo, number 11, and Zahabi is number 14. Okay. Mario Batista, that was a bullshit fight. Don't even want to get into that. Henry Cejudo, why not match them 2 up? That could be a fun fight. I mean, obviously Henry Cejudo did just fight, so it was awkward. I mean, I think the Jose Aldo fight got announced not long before, not long after Cejudo fought, so that obviously wasn't really there. Obviously Rob Font just fought as well. Was that it? Yeah. It was Rob Font that just fought against that Matsumoto guy, Gene Matsumoto. So yeah, Marlon Vera, he just got booked. But you could have waited. You could have done a Marlon Vera fight. That would have been fun. That would have been nice. That would have been fun. That would have been a striking battle. That would have been fun. But like Song Yadong again would be a half decent fight. I mean, he just fought as well. So Corey Sandhagen, why not do a Corey Sandhagen fight? I'm sure Corey Sandhagen would love that fight, to fight a legend like that. He'd bite the finger off of Dana White to get that fight, I'm sure. You could do another Peter Yan match. I mean, why not? I mean, he's probably going to be looking for a title shot next. With Sean O'Malley, obviously, he's getting a title shot next. But which is crazy, actually. That's crazy that he's not confirmed, but heavily rumoured to be getting an instant rematch, which I don't really understand. He had one title defence against Marlon Vera, who's not that good. And then, lost in quite convincing fashion against Merab. And then just waited out and got another title shot. I mean, it's not like there's nobody there at bantamweight. I mean, anyway, I'm going to go back to Jose Aldo. Yeah, there's a few more better and fun fights that you could have made for Jose Aldo. And it doesn't really make sense to me that you're going to have him fight. It was Mario Batista. There was a guy before that, Jonathan Martinez, I think he fought. And now Ayman Zahabi. I mean, in his comeback, I mean, what has he done to Dana White to really deserve this treatment? I don't get. I mean, he's accepting these fights at the end of the day. You have to say that. You know, he's accepting it, but you kind of have to question heavily the matchmaking in this scenario, because I mean, a guy like that, he's still a big name. He's still really good as well. So there's no need to be having him fight these pointless fights. But yeah, I'll move on to the next topic of conversation. So Pantoja defending his flyweight title against Kai Kara France. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you could have waited for Cap, or you could have done a Merab super fight, which really would have been more logical for me. I mean, maybe Pantoja doesn't want to do that, you never know. But for me, he's got 5 title defenses at flyweight? Come on, man. Move up. You're fighting Kara France because it's like the last time you fought, I think, was on Ultimate Fighter, and it was ages ago, and Kara France knocked out Steve Erceg, who people Erceg beat Pantoja. But I mean, come on, man. Bare title defenses. Do that super fight. Why not? Why not do that super fight at the end of the day? So yeah, I'm definitely going Pantoja in this one. Probably an early submission, because Kai Kara France isn't very good on the ground. And obviously my boy Cap, I got a backup Cap, so yeah, you know what I mean. Like I'll probably be going Pantoja. Also, I'll be going Aldo in his fight. Fuck anything else. I'm going Jose Aldo. Is what it is. Deal with it. Okay. Next one, Gene Silva versus Bryce Hall. Easy Gene Silva pick here. I mean, he might get submitted. You never know. I mean, people were talking about this getting taken down by Charles Jourdain, but for me, that was a few fights ago, and also Gene Silva punched his fucking head in with an uppercut. So, yeah, I don't really want to be hearing all that. If he gets submitted, fair enough. Bryce Hall is based Bryce Hall, but maybe less said about him the better. But I'll definitely be going Gene Silva in this one. Again, it's like Alex Pereira, but not the same. I'm not going to pick against a guy like him, Although I was saying this about Peyton Talbot, and he got fraud checked, but I probably should have seen that one coming with the whole chilling with Frank Ocean and all this stuff. So yeah, I probably should have picked against him just for the coach. But yeah, next one, Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree. Fun fight. It's really close. I'm not going to give a prediction just yet, but this is a fun fight. This will be a striking battle, of course. That will be a good one. I think it's a fight night main event, 5 rounds as well, so that should be a banger. Then Chito Vera's fighting Mario Batista. I spoke earlier about Chito, that he was matched up against Mario Batista. I mean, I guess it's alright. Nothing crazy. But yeah, with that being said, I'm probably going to leave it there. I've been Evan from the Lonely Stone podcast, And that was my UFC 313 predictions. Peace.